Hey guys, and welcome to BisaNation. This video is on the 5 things I've learnt from being on YouTube. And this is also handy for people who are thinking of starting a channel or have just started a channel. And these are little things that I've picked up over the years, and there's loads of things I've picked up, but these are like the main ones. Number 1, don't jump to conclusions. Sometimes I thought somebody was being offensive or rude to me or just shady, and they actually were not at all. They did not mean it in that way. And I just find it's always better to be slow to react and just assume the best until proven otherwise. That's just, I always think I'm going to assume that you don't mean this in a rude way. I'm going to assume that you mean something a bit more constructive or positive. Like, just don't assume that people are being shady, because sometimes people are just genuinely asking a question, or they are just they're not expressing themselves the way they want to. So yeah, that's the first thing I've learned, and it's been so helpful because all these things kind of translate into real life as well, not to just get easily offended. Number 2, haters gone hate. They are. It's unfortunate, but there are just haters out there. However, my theory is, and I don't want to be rude or I don't want to be offensive to anyone, but I feel like if you're not being constructive, some people are just saying, look, this is how I feel. But if you're being outright rude or just abusive or just disrespectful, I feel like your mental state isn't whole. Like, I feel like you might be suffering from some sort of mental issues, because I feel like grown people who have things going on in life and who are mentally sound don't just abuse people. Or they, like, if I, you know, we all have opinions. Sometimes you see something, you're like, I really don't like what you're wearing, but I don't feel the need to type and say I really don't like what you're wearing. It's not information that can be useful to that person. You could tell them what you think would suit them. I personally don't do that, but unless I don't give my opinion unless people ask for it. But if you want to be helpful, you could do it that way. Just giving people outright abuse is not constructive, and I always just assume that you are mentally ill or you are a child. I.e., like, there was one day where somebody wrote something quite rude to me. Actually, it was very rude. She was like saying how ugly I was, and I went to her page. I wasn't going to respond. I went to her page, and it was a girl who was like literally about 12 years old, and she just had a video up. This was back in the day when the layout of YouTube was different and the feature page was her video, and she just went like this, and she went, I'm so bored, sighed, and that was her video, and then turned it off. And I just thought, that's really sad, because she's obviously like I actually genuinely thought she doesn't look happy, and I just wrote her a message and I just said, I hope you feel better soon and life is going to get better for you. Because she didn't just say I'm bored, she said she was depressed, that's what she said. And I just said life is going to get so much better for you. And then, yeah, that's what I just said. And she obviously didn't respond. But had I responded with like, oh, you're probably ugly too, blah blah, that's a child that I could have just been abusing. I always just take the stance, again referring to number 1, which is just assume the best. Just don't jump to conclusions, because you don't know, some people are really suffering, and like their abuse to you is the only bit of attention that they get for the day. Or like, I know it sounds like I'm making excuses. There's not really an excuse for abusing random people, but I just feel like I can take it. I don't really care, but that's how I translate it. I feel like you get to choose how you take what people do, and especially like I'm less together when it comes to people like who are like my family and stuff, who are closer to me. Like, I'm not really that good at like being like, yeah, whatever. But when it comes to strangers or people online, it's a lot harder to phase me. Like, I'm very hard to phase online. I don't care that much. If you're telling me something that's abusive, like, why do I need to validate that? I don't know you. So, you know, that's how I feel. Don't shrink for anyone. That basically means I'm not going to be apologetic for who I am, the way I do things, and doing the most. I did a video and some of the people were like, oh, you do too much. It's better than not doing enough. I personally feel like it's like I do too much and that serves me well. Doing too much, I don't understand how that's an insult. It's like, when you watch a music video, do you watch it because somebody's looking awkwardly at the camera, miming, looking like they don't know what the next line is, or do you like somebody who looks like they're owning the screen? You like somebody who looks like they know what they're doing. That's what you want. You don't want somebody who looks awkward. And I feel like some people just feel like if I posed like this, like did my fashion videos like this, like I feel like some people would prefer it. I'm not going to shrink. I'm going to pose. I'm going to do the most possible that I can. I'm going to put the most effort I can because that's me, and I'm doing it as an archive. It's not just about, oh, this is too much for YouTube. I'm seeing beyond this. I'm thinking ahead. A lot of the times as well, people tell you you're doing too much, or they criticize you, or they want you to shrink until somebody else does it and then other people do it, and they're suddenly, oh, you're allowed to do it now because everybody's doing it. And it's like, when you want to do it, you want to do it first or whatever, suddenly it's like, oh no, you need to take it down. And it reminds me of when I first started YouTube, and like there's loads of things that I got criticized for, especially the highlighter under my eye. Like, I pretty much did it like I do now, but back then it was not the norm. Like, if you look at old videos from like 2011 and stuff, people were not highlighting the way they are now. And I remember it was me and Lip Shock especially. I'm not saying we're the only ones, but we were the only ones that were seen around doing highlighter. Loads on dark skin especially. Loads of people were just wearing the same colour as their skin under their eyes. And I've always highlighted because it's an old technique. It's like an 80s look, and I liked it, so I always used to do it. It's like 80s 90s kind of thing, more 80s, but I got so much kind of stick for it, but I kept doing it. I'm not changing that. I'm not gonna like try and fit in and then suddenly it's suddenly the new thing to do, and now I'm left out because I wasn't bold enough to do what I wanted to do. Don't shrink for anyone. Be bold. It's my channel. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Life is too short to worry about what people think of you. Number 4, don't be weary of doing good. And that is in the case of real life. That's what I've learned, especially from YouTube, in the sense that if you feel like you want to do videos to encourage people and nobody wants to watch, or people don't appreciate it, or people make you feel like you are you should be ashamed of what you said, like if you're bearing your soul, like I've got a video that I was like kind of telling all, and it was difficult for me to do, and then it's like most part was so much support, like I'm not even complaining, but there were a few people who were sent over by another YouTuber, and she clearly had like some mean subscribers because they were just kind of like quite horrible, quite harsh even. And I thought, well, I'm telling you about my life, so why are you like, there's not really much to debate. It happened, and for people to make me feel bad about what I shared, it was just weird for me. But I can't let things like that make me feel like, oh, I'm never doing this again, because there are other people that benefit from these things. I've learnt the importance of just expressing yourself creatively from being on YouTube, and just the fact that I have progressed so much from being on here. Like, I never used to know how to edit before. I did a degree in animation, but I never knew how to edit until afterwards. I would edit on the actual camera, so I would film it as I wanted it to look, and then ask some of my friends to just cut it up for me. Like, I would tell them exactly what I wanted, and we'd sit there and they would help me. God bless them. John, Steve, Aaron and Con. becoming more creative because I'm exercising those muscles, I guess, has been amazing for me. Just so, yeah, just that's one of the best things for me about being on here. These are the things I've learned from being on YouTube, and all in all, I feel like although it can be highs and lows, I do genuinely enjoy putting out content. I enjoy my becoming more and more comfortable in front of the camera, because I'm way more confident in real life than I am in front of the camera, but just being more familiar, especially if I compare it to my first videos, to see the progression, see how much more comfortable I am speaking to a camera. It's, you know, for me it's just like, oh wow, you know, progress. So it has really done a lot. Yes. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe. Let me know if you think any of these points relate to real life or whatever. Just let me know, comment below, tell me some stuff, tell me some good stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Be bold, and I'll see you in my next video.